This man was one of the DEA's most famous and powerful agents, Darnell Garcia, known for his precision and unmatched ability to take down some of the most dangerous drug cartels operating across the United States and Mexico. Garcia was trusted to protect the public. He wore his badge with pride. But what no one knew was that Darnell Garcia had a dark secret. For years, while Garcia hunted down drug lords, he was quietly stealing millions in cash and cocaine from the very criminals he was sworn to bring to justice. And it didn't stop there. Garcia didn't just steal, he built an empire. He resold the very drugs he seized, using his position to stay one step ahead of the law. This trusted DEA agent had transformed into a kingpin. So, who is Darnell Garcia? And how did a man sworn to uphold the law become its greatest enemy? What led him to betray everything he once stood for? Long before his name became synonymous with corruption, Garcia was a man of promise. Born and raised in New York City, his early life was defined by discipline. He served 3 years in the army during the Vietnam War, a period that shaped his sense of duty and ambition. After the military, Garcia moved to Los Angeles, seeking new opportunities. It was a city full of promise, and for someone like Garcia, it was the perfect place to build a career. But it wasn't just the badge that made Garcia stand out. He was also a martial arts champion, training under the legendary Chuck Norris. His talent and dedication earned him titles in the martial arts circuit, and even a role in the iconic film Enter the Dragon alongside Bruce Lee. Yet, Garcia's true calling wasn't Hollywood, it was law enforcement. Joining the LAPD, he quickly made a name for himself, earning respect for his discipline, confidence, and skill. By 1978, Garcia had climbed the ranks, joining the DEA at the height of America's war on drugs. But as the years passed, the job began to weigh on him. The long hours, the constant danger, and the thankless nature of the work started to take their toll. Garcia watched as drug lords flaunted their wealth while he struggled to make ends meet. The disparity gnawed at him, and in the shadows of Los Angeles, temptation began to creep in. It started small. During a chaotic drug bust, Garcia found himself alone with a bag of seized cash. He pocketed a few $100s, rationalizing it as repayment for the risks he took every day. But what seemed harmless quickly spiraled out of control. A few hundred turned into thousands, and soon Garcia was skimming money and drugs from every major bust. Garcia did not act alone. He brought two fellow agents, Ed Williams and Brian Harford, into his scheme. Together they formed a secretive circle bound by greed and corruption. The trio's operation expanded. They began replacing seized cocaine with baking soda, stealing kilos of drugs and selling them back on the streets through Garcia's criminal connections. They laundered millions through Swiss bank accounts, believing their knowledge of the system made them untouchable. But every empire eventually faces its downfall. And by the mid-1980s, whispers of corruption within the DEA began to spread. Financial irregularities and Garcia's lavish lifestyle raised red flags. DEA investigators launched a crime probe into Garcia and his team. Surveillance, bank records, and informants led to mounting evidence. And when local drug dealers exposed Garcia's partner, Brian Harford, the pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. In November 1988, the DEA was ready to strike. Arrest warrants were issued. But Garcia, always one step ahead, received a tip-off. Within hours, he vanished, leaving behind a trail of luxury and deceit. For 7 months, Garcia evaded capture, traveling through Europe and living off his millions, but his arrogance became his undoing in Luxembourg. A small mistake, a refund request at a travel agency alerted Interpol. As he left the agency, Interpol agents closed in. After years of deception, Garcia's reign as both DEA agent and kingpin came to an end. Darnell Garcia's story is a cautionary tale. A man who rose to power only to fall victim to his own greed. From a respected agent to a fugitive, he became the very thing he once fought against. This is the story of how ambition, temptation, and corruption turned a hero into a villain. Fade to black with text. The fall of Darnell Garcia. These Interpol agents moved in, weapons drawn, hearts racing. There he was, the man who had once been the star agent, now a fugitive with nowhere left to run. Darnell Garcia didn't resist. He knew it was over. For years, he had outsmarted everyone, running drugs, laundering millions, and betraying the very agency he once served with pride. But his time had run out. The process of bringing Garcia back to the United States was swift and relentless. Luxembourg's authorities worked closely with US officials, ensuring his transfer under heavy guard. He was no longer the respected DEA agent he once was. He was a criminal, shackled and disgraced. As Garcia stepped onto American soil, it became clear the millions he had hidden in Swiss and Luxembourg accounts couldn't protect him anymore. His aliases, his international network, it was all meaningless. The case against Garcia would become one of the most complex in DEA history. Years of investigations had uncovered a sprawling operation that crossed borders, involved secret bank accounts, and laundered millions in drug money. Inside the courtroom, tension was thick. Witness after witness took the stand. Some were former colleagues, people who had once trusted him with their lives. Others were fellow agents who had unknowingly worked alongside a man who was betraying them. The evidence was damning. Secret financial records, fake cocaine swapped out during raids, and detailed testimony from Garcia's closest partners in crime, Ed Williams and Brian Hartford. In exchange for the reduced sentences, they exposed every detail of their criminal enterprise. Their words painted a vivid picture of Garcia's corruption, the drugs he stole, the millions laundered through Europe, and the cocaine resold on the streets. In April 1991, the jury reached their verdict. Darnell Garcia was found guilty on all counts: drug trafficking, conspiracy, and money laundering. His sentence was severe: 80 years in federal prison, a $1.06 million fine, and the complete forfeiture of his ill-gotten wealth. For Garcia, it was the ultimate downfall. The empire he had built through greed and deception was dismantled. The millions he once thought would protect him were gone, and the life of luxury he had created had vanished. Darnell Garcia, once a hero in the fight against drugs, had become the very enemy he was sworn to stop. His story is a reminder that no one, not even those tasked with upholding the law, is above it.